Hi everyone, I'm Kelsey and I'm so excited that today I am releasing my 38-week Read Through the USA lesson plans, and I thought I just would take a minute to show you the lesson plans, show you some of the spine books and the materials that are used, kind of explain what a week would look like if you follow these plans. They are geared really towards grades 1 through 3. I have a son who will be using them next year. He'll be a first, second grade kind of hybrid, and I think the level of the geography and the reading and all of that will really be a great fit for him. But they can also be adapted. So if you download the plans, you will get a printable PDF. I went ahead and bound my copy of them. But for each week, like I said, there's 38 weeks, and you have a geography section, a reading, so that would be independent student reading, and then this is the read aloud. So that's what you as the parent would actually read to your child. And then I also, for every single state over in this column, I have 5 living picture books that are set in each state, or they feature a person who was prominent in that state or in that state's history. And so those are really great for if you have younger children following along, a toddler or a preschooler who's kind of listening in, but they might not be quite ready for them yet. The picture books are a great way to sort of pull them into it as well. And so for the geography section, really the main spine is this book. Well, there's kind of two. This is the Desk Atlas of the United States. It's a really beautifully illustrated children's atlas. So each state takes up 2 pages, and there are maps and lots of facts and interesting things. And so really you're going to be utilizing this every day in some way. Every day you're going to spend, well, per state, you'll spend 3 days studying that state in a very systematic way. So everyone, you're kind of going through the same steps. On day 1, you are going to find your state in this book. So like the first state on week 1 would be Maine. So you would find the state of Maine, and you would read all of this information together. You kind of look at the map together, and just learn some basic history and information about Maine. Then every day, you're also going to be using this book. It's called The Trail Guide to U.S. Geography. And this goes through, in the order that the plans list out, it has questions every day that are simple and usually only take, most of them should only take 5 minutes or less. So for example, the first question on the first day is, what is the capital of Maine and what country is north of Maine? And so you would go to your desk atlas, you would look at Maine, you could find the capital, you can explain, find the star, and that always is going to be the capital. Look at the map, find which country is north. You can answer that question together either orally, or if you want to have kind of a geography notebook where they're answering those questions through the year, you can have them write that down. So that would be day 1 as far as the geography goes. Day 2, we incorporate this book, which is called the Junior State Notebook. I am not the most creative homeschool mom. I don't love all the art projects and the crafty stuff, so this makes it really easy for me. So on the second day of studying each state, each state has a page in this book that's blank. We have a picture of something found here, date of statehood, etc. And again, all of this information can be found in your desk atlas of the United States. So if you're unsure, go back to that state, read about it a little bit more, fill this in. What I also love about the Junior State Notebook is that it comes with these stickers. So state birds, state trees, state flowers, and you can just stick those on each page, and that's kind of a fun exercise. That book particularly is geared towards kids in grades 1 through 3, so it's a really good fit for this level. So that would be day 2 of the state. Day 2, you would answer 2 questions from the trail guide. You would decorate your page in the state notebook. Then on day 3, in the trail guide, they have mapping exercises. So on day 3, every week, you are going to go, for example, here is a mapping page. This is Arkansas mapping, and it says, draw and label the Arkansas River, label Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma, and label Little Rock with a star. And so that would be your mapping exercise for day 3, and you're going to map that. There are also harder mapping exercises that if you've an older student or just one who really enjoys mapping and you want to go deeper, there are more questions you can do. But the map that I recommend and that we're using is this one, and you can see it is very large, but it does roll up, so it's not so overwhelming, but it is a big old map. It's made of corrugated cardboard, which I really like. It's not just paper that's going to fall apart through the year. And obviously it can be stored and rolled up pretty easily, but I'm not going to unroll it here. You can see the top of it here, so the state of Maine and New Hampshire, Vermont. So by the time we get to California, some of these bigger states, they're going to be huge. But on day 3 every week, you are actually going to take your map, you're going to answer the mapping questions and the trail guide to US geography in your specific state. And once you finish labeling it, then I just encourage you and your child to be creative and decorate the state how you want to. Color it in, design it somehow, put in some interesting facts, or maybe like if you want, in Maine, there's a lot of pine trees, so let's draw some pine trees. But by the end of the year, this whole map will be completely colored in and decorated and labeled with the capitals and all that kind of stuff. So that's sort of the geography portion. It really shouldn't take probably more than 10 to 15 minutes, I would say, on most days. Then there's also a reading section. So every single state has a level 3 or equivalent reader. So I wanted to show you kind of what that means, because as I've researched these, I have found level 3 means a lot of different things. Different companies, some level 3s will look really difficult and others will not be as bad. So for example, this is Juneteenth, and this is the book that we're using for Texas because the Juneteenth celebration was in Galveston, Texas. So you can kind of see the reading level there, this type of size and length. And they're reading one of these books over 3 days because, like I said, every state we have 3 days of study. And so there are several of these types of books. This would be another level 3 reader, The Story of Balto. So again, you can see it's about a second grade reading level or so. And every state has that. So there are 50 individual readers. Here's another one, Lewis and Clark, A Prairie Dog for the President. And again, this one's a little bit shorter, even a little bit simpler, but most of them are level 3s. There's a couple level 2s and one level 4 at the end that hopefully they've kind of progressed. So each day they will read about a third of one of these books, or if they want to read it all, together at one time, that's great too. And then there are the read alouds, and there are 12 read alouds through the year. This is one example, The Trumpet of the Swan. All of the read alouds correspond with the part of the country being studied. So, for example, when we read Because of Winn-Dixie, that takes place in Florida. So at the same time we're reading that, we're also mapping Florida and asking our geography questions about Florida. I've tried to make the chapters of these really doable. I read a lot aloud to my kids, so I have a pretty good idea of what they can handle and what you can handle as a parent. And I really try to put it in portions that are not too big or overwhelming. It's really no more than a chapter, or if they're really short, it would be shorter chapters. So I love every single read aloud. I think they're all really great books. And then I also brought some picture books here. So for example, like I said, there are picture books labeled on the side columns. So for example, that first week we're studying about Maine, and so this is a really great one by Robert McCloskey, One Morning in Maine. These are not required, you don't have to read these, but they are great ways either to supplement reading for your own child. Maybe you have a more advanced reader and the level 3s are a little bit easy for them and you want to give them a little bit more challenging or just more material to read. Using those picture books is a great way to supplement that. Or again, like I said, if you have younger ones that want to read along and kind of be involved, the picture books are great too. I also include in the bottom right hand corner of the plans recommendations from Cetera.com, which is kind of a geography quiz site, for quizzes that they can take to learn where each state is on the map, and then also all of their capitals. And so every week there's a recommendation, go to this website, take this quiz. again, kids are going to learn at their own level. Maybe your child already knows some of them, but that site I have found is great. My own kids have used it and have really done great learning the states and their capitals and all of that stuff. So that kind of goes along with everything. So by the end of the year, the goal is that they can recognize where all the states are on the map and also be able to memorize and know each capital. So it's a very dense curriculum. There's a lot of books. And I wanted to talk about that because I know oftentimes homeschoolers are on tight budgets. We are the same way. And I have found every single book in this whole curriculum at our library. Granted, we have a really great library system here in Ohio that I'm really grateful for, but all of the read alouds and all of the readers are available through our local library, as well as the vast majority of the picture books as well. So it really doesn't have to cost a ton if you're willing to really dig in and get creative with your library. I did purchase all of the books for my own son. And I was able to find probably 90 to 95% of them on used book sites. So Better World Books, Thrift Books, Discover Books, sometimes on Amazon. I think I only ended up buying one or two of them new. And so even though it is a lot of books and you do kind of have to put in some effort to gather them all, once you have them, it's really doable. And on my website, I have a link to all of them. So if you kind of just want to add them all to your Amazon cart and do it that way, you can, or there's checklists that you can print off and kind of keep track of which ones you have and which ones you need. I really want it to be accessible, even though there are a lot of materials. The spines that are required are just those geography books, and those you will use every day, and I would recommend purchasing those. But the rest of the books, you can kind of get creative with how you want to do them. So I am so excited about this. I've been working on it for several months, and I hope that it allows you and your child to really experience the United States. There's so much to learn, and I think they get a great sense of geography, but also history, because you're reading so much living literature set in each state. It's not just let's read some fact books and memorize some things. It's really memorable stuff that you can see different landscapes and different people in history, and it kind of all comes together as to what is the character of each state. So I hope you will check them out. They are listed on my website, orchardreads.com, and you can go there for more information. Thanks.